Can you think of a time when someone made a promise to you? And what made you certain that they would follow through? If skeptical about their promise, what caused your lack of confidence? How did they convince you? One of the major themes in Jonah is this connection between the external response and the internal belief. The way we act shows what we truly believe on the inside. And when they don't line up, there's a misunderstanding there. And they said to him, "Tell us who is to blame for this trouble we're in. What is your business? And where are you from? What is your country and what people are you from?" He answered them, "I am a Hebrew. I worship the Lord, the God of the heavens, who made the sea and the dry land." Instead of saying, "Lord, I'm sorry for what I've done," he turns and says, "Well, this is who I am." Instead of saying, "Well, this is my fault," he claims, "I'm a Hebrew." Now, why would Jonah say this? Is he trying to make himself out to be better than the crew? Is this status, being known as a Hebrew, the most important thing to him? Then the men were seized by a great fear and said to him, "What have you done?" The men knew he was fleeing from the Lord's presence because he had told them. So they said to him, "What should we do to you so that the sea will calm down for us?" For the sea was getting worse and worse. If you knew fleeing from God would cause this retribution, why would you bring us into this situation? You'll notice the men were anxious. They were fearful. They didn't know what to do with Jonah in order for the sea to calm down. As time progresses, God doesn't try to calm the sea. He makes it even worse. He answered them, "Pick me up and throw me into the sea, so that it will calm down for you. For I know that I'm to blame for this great storm that is against you." Wait, did you catch what Jonah said? "For I know that I am to blame for this great storm that's come upon you." So Jonah could have jumped off the ship, but he's waiting for the men to throw him off. Maybe this is Jonah saying, "I'm not going to jump off the ship. I may die, but if you throw me off and I perish, oh well." Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to get back to dry land. But they couldn't because the sea was raging against them more and more. Notice something from this passage. The men didn't immediately throw Jonah into the sea. They tried to row back to shore. Could it be that these men had more regard for Jonah and his life than he had for them? I mean, he was the one trying to flee from God, which resulted in this raging storm. So they called out to the Lord, "Please, Lord, don't let us perish because of this man's life. And don't charge us with innocent blood." Before Jonah prays, the crew prays. Now these were people who had their own gods. But if you look at this passage specifically, they're calling out to God saying, "Don't let us perish because of him." They're saying, "Lord, don't take our lives. Be with us." And it says, "For you, Lord, have done just as you please." So if you look at this, you're noticing that Jonah is needing another tap on the shoulder from God saying, "Look what's going on in your life. You keep running from me. You're in the middle of this storm. This crew is about to die and you're not doing anything about it." Something has to change in Jonah's life. Then they picked up Jonah and threw him into the sea, and the sea stopped its raging. The men were seized by great fear of the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows. So what do you see here? The non-believer, quote unquote, fears the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. And the entire crew, the passage says, was fearful. They were astonished by God's power. So what do we learn from all this? That God is still using Jonah's circumstance. In the midst of his disobedience, God uses these people. So this proves to me and to you that God will interrupt and disrupt whatever is going on in our lives in order to accomplish his own will. And take note that obedience without God's power can do nothing. But when you are obedient and God is working in your life and you see the evidence of God's power all around you, it can accomplish so much. Even though Jonah was walking in disobedience, God still used his circumstance, and God still accomplished his own will. I hope that you're comforted in knowing that no matter how much you've messed up, no matter how far you've run from God, God can still accomplish his own